This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, we now bring you a dialogue on welfare measures for street vendors. The participants are Brij Kumar Agarwal, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Poverty Alleviation, and Murali Krishnan, Senior Radio Broadcaster.
Nothing represents the rich tapestry of India's multicultural fabric better than street food. The cuisine of place speaks volumes about the weather, culture, lifestyle, and habits of the people. The Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood and Regulation of Street Vending Bill has now been passed in both houses of Parliament. Tell us briefly about the salient features of this bill.
This bill, first of all, gives the recognition of the place of street vendors in the economy of our country. I would say that is the most important thing, that at the national level their contribution has been recognized and there is a central law which has to be implemented by all the states. Then there are provisions that once a permission is given under this act, so no other authority, transport, police, municipal committee, they can harass the street vendor or they can implement their own laws on the street vendor. So permission under this act will ensure that street vendors are able to do their business without any harassment from any other authority.
So they won't be harassed by the police and civic authorities anymore in all parts of this country?
Yes, very much so.
And what is the provision in this particular act which gives them that protection?
First thing is that this bill provides that on their own, the state governments and the municipal committees, we hold a survey of all the street vendors working in urban areas. And then after the survey, they will issue them the permissions to carry on their business. Till that survey is completed, no street vendor will be evicted from his or her present place. Then every city will prepare a street vending plan. Like we prepare town plans, we prepare building plans. Now development of the city will be based on the street vending plan also. So they will prepare a plan every 5 years where they will make a specific place, a specific planning for the street vendors. No street vendor will be relocated from his present occupation till he is given an opportunity to be heard, until sort of a better place or equally good place is found for him at other place. The most important provision is in every city a town vending committee will be formed. This town vending committee will perform most of the functions under this act, like permissions, decision about the vending zone and non-vending zones, in case of violation, cancellation of license, giving of the new licenses. And this TVC will have 40% representation to the street vendors and then 10% representation to the NGOs. So it will be fairly representative body so that all the decision in respect of street vendors will be done with their participation.
So therefore, when you say that the 40% members of town vending committees will be among street vendors, it also includes women apparently, and also persons from the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe categories as well. Is that true?
Yes. There is a provision in the bill that out of those 40%, at least 1/3 will be women. And adequate representation will be given to SC, ST and OBC also.
And the bill has a provision for the constitution of a town vending authority, as you mentioned, in each local authority to ensure participatory decision-making for aspects like determination of natural market, identification of vending zones, the preparation of street vending plan, and the survey of street vendors, among others. Can you throw some light on this?
Most important thing is that all the street vendors who are doing business in a city should get assurance about their continuing occupation. So now the responsibility has been placed on urban local body or the state government to carry on the survey and identify the vendors who are already there and then issue certificate of vending to all of them. Not that they have to come and seek the permissions from the authority and so that they may get harassed also. So it is the responsibility on the ULB to do survey on their own and then give certificate of vending to all the street vendors. And then most important things like where the street vending can be done, where it cannot be done, where it can be done with some restrictions, like what can be sort of a criteria for giving a certificate of vending, what can be terms and conditions of certificate of vending. All those things will be decided by a representative body, that will be town vending committee, so that street vendors are not harassed by the authorities. then if a street vendor, because of some particular reason, or a group of street vendors, they have to be relocated to some other place because of some specific problems in the city, like traffic management or hygiene or whatever, then also the town vending committee will take those decisions, and then they will consult the specific group of street vendors also.
The vendors have been pressing for this bill for many years. So are you saying that now they can breathe easy?
Yes, because this is now certainly an occasion for them to celebrate and to be very happy, because now they will not be unduly harassed. And then most of the street vendors who keep on representing and meeting us, they always said that yes, we are prepared to follow all the reasonable terms and conditions put by the ULBs and the state government, but at least give us some right so that we know the procedures. The procedure should be easy. So that has been done through this bill.
They come under a particular umbrella organization, and I understand that there are almost about 740 street vendor organizations around the country, and their number around in India is almost close to 10 million. Is that true?
As per our estimate, yes, this would be number of the street vendor in India, around 1 crore. As per our estimate, the number may range from up to 1 crore in the cities.
How much of the metropolitan cities, for example, Bombay, Calcutta, what percentage do they form?
There are no specific surveys to our knowledge, but as per our estimate, the number ranges from say 1 to 2% or 2.5% of the urban population.
I understand that among cities, Bhubaneswar and Imphal, they made provisions for street vendors in their city development plans. But that was not true for cities like Delhi, Patna, Bangalore, Mumbai, Ahmedabad. Will that all happen right now once this is in place?
Yes, because now, as you are mentioning, those were specific incidents which some people took initiative among the authorities and they did some good work in some particular pockets. But now there is a responsibility on all the state governments and the ULBs to work for these street vendors and providing facilities, providing conducive atmosphere for them to do their occupation.
Countries protect and promote street food because street food enterprise contributes immensely to local economy as well as tourism. What do you say?
Yes, that is true. All the street vendors in the country, around 60 to 70% are basically food vendors. And as you said in the beginning, their food actually represents traditional food of India. So first thing is that they should give in a protection, and then they should also give in some training, some orientation regarding hygiene and cleanliness so that they can provide better services to the customers. And then we have kept a provision in this bill also, which will become an act, that state government and central government will take up promotional measures for their training, for their social security, etc. And then our Ministry, Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation, has recently started a mission, National Urban Livelihood Mission. In this mission, we have made specific provisions for street vendors, for their training, provision of credit card to them, providing them some working capital loan. So all those things will also be done simultaneously along with this implementation of this act.
Street vending is largely unregulated in the sense that normally puts up a stall somewhere. Now with this particular bill, there will be designated pockets where they can sell their wares. How long will it take, for example, to identify these designated pockets where they can sell their food, they sell their wares? It obviously is going to take some time for you to map out these places.
Actually, this will now depend on the state governments and the ULBs. And certainly, because town vending committee will have representation from the street vendors also, so they have to take initiative. And then there is a provision in this act that within 6 months, the state government has to formulate a scheme for every urban local body, which will give details of all those things. And within 1 year, they have to formulate the rules under this act. So there are time limits in this act, and within that time limit, they have to complete this job.
Another point, for example, there are certain towns and cities in India where street vendors, when they assemble, it sometimes leads to overcrowding, aggravated traffic congestion, solid waste management, as well as could be problems with public health. Are those factors also taken care of in this bill?
Yes, there are two things. What we have realized is sometimes these problems are over-projected. And sometimes these problems may not be because of the street vendors. They may be because of some other mismanagement of the traffic or the spaces. So what we have done in this bill, there is a provision that street vendors will not be removed from a place unless it is reasonably proved that problems are because of them. and there cannot be some alternative way of management or traffic, etc. But if the authorities feel that yes, they have to be relocated from this place, so there is a provision that after giving them opportunity, involving them, then you can find out some other place. And there is a responsibility on the street vendors also that they will also keep that place in a better hygiene. So there is specific responsibility has been mentioned in this bill.
That is a responsibility of
the street vendors.
Okay.
That wherever they are there, and that will be one of the conditions of the certificate of vending, that they will keep that place clean.
What happens if it does not?
Then he will be violating a condition of the certificate of vending, and then municipal committee, as per their scheme, they may impose some fine, or the eventuality is a sort of a consistent defaulter, then TVC may take a decision to cancel the license also.
One more thing which I wanted to raise with you. A street vendor will obviously be given a license to sell his food. Do they have to pay a sort of a minimal fee to the state government or the municipal body for them to sell their wares?
There is a provision in this bill that the state government or the ULB may charge. So now these decisions will be taken while formulating the scheme by the state government, that whether they want to charge and how much they want to charge. So it has been left on the state governments, because we realize that there is so much diversity in our country, because local conditions differ from city to city and from state to state. So this job has been given to the state government, but there is a provision, enabling provision in the Act, that such fee can be imposed.
Obviously, with the fact that now that it's not become an act right now, so do you foresee a situation, for example, in the bigger cities, that there would a bigger rush for among street vendors to now to sell their wares, people coming in perhaps from the smaller towns or the villages to set up hawking stalls?
It is difficult to estimate, but if there are business opportunities, then people will come, no doubt. But what we feel that if things are organized as per provisions of this Act, much bigger number of the street vendors can very well be adjusted in the cities without any problem to the commuters or other shopkeepers if things are organized. So I hope that with provisions of this bill, the things will be more organized, and then probably a bigger number can be even adjusted in the cities.
One of the main reasons for the poor organization of among hawkers and street vendors is because theirs is a competitive occupation. Unlike factory workers who can be united for a common cause, street vendors tend to view each other with some amount of suspicion because they obviously want to ramp up their sales. Is there anything, for example, that certain localities only have this kind of food or this kind of particular wares which will be sold?
In any business, there are certain rivalries, but in any group of people, there are strong affinities also. So there are examples where street vendors have made cooperative societies, they have made their own informal organizations through which they are regulating many things. There are examples. And you also mentioned there is large number of street vending associations, etc. So these are sort of, when the things come, they develop on their own. We should not interfere that much in that. And second thing is that, like you are saying, that a specific area can be designated for a specific food, etc. Those all things will have to be planned by the urban local bodies. And that's why there is a provision to make a scheme and then making a street vending plan for next 5 years. That street vending plan can have all those things depending on the local situations.
Now that it's passed in both houses of parliament and has now become an act, street vendors and hawkers have much to rejoice, and what we can certainly look forward to is more street food festivals in the coming months and years. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were listening to a dialogue on welfare measures for street vendors. The participants were Brij Kumar Agarwal, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Poverty Alleviation, and Murali Krishnan, Senior Radio Broadcaster. It came to you in the program News Analysis, produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.